What's up you guys, Charles here and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to cover why exactly you should have a credit card. Now if you're new here, this channel is all about helping under 30-year-olds understand and manage their money and how they can make better use of their money. So if that sounds like you, consider hitting that subscribe button. Now before I get into the number of aspects of why you should get a credit card, I do want to cover the few very important aspects of why you shouldn't. Now what you have to understand about credit cards is you're essentially using someone else's money, in the case of credit cards, the bank's money, and you're borrowing that money to buy stuff, and you then have to pay it back. And if you pay it back by the time it's due, which is normally around 30 days, then you don't have to pay anything back, and it's just like using cash. The very important thing is if you don't pay it back by the due date, firstly, it will affect your credit score for up to 6 years if you miss a payment. And on top of this, the interest on the money you have to pay back is a huge amount. It's normally around 30%, which can become very crippling very fast. And so you need to make sure that you can manage your money well, and you should only spend whatever you can pay back. Now that that's done, we can now go into the juicy stuff about credit cards and why you really should consider them. Now firstly, probably the most important one, is they help build credit history and your credit score. Now what is that? I've done a few videos on it, and if you don't want to watch my videos, then you can Google search it. There's loads of information on it online. Essentially what it is that when you go borrow money from lenders, so for example for a mortgage, when you need to buy a house, the lenders will look at your past use of credit or debt, such as your credit card, for example. And if you've shown to the lenders that you can use your credit card well and you're not desperate for credit, then they would likely give you a loan. And I mean, if you haven't got any credit history, they won't give you a loan. But the amazing thing is if that you do have credit history, and it's a good credit history, they'll give you one of the lowest interest rates on your loan. And that's because you're deemed as trustworthy. So you're not at risk when they are giving you their money. This means that they require you to pay back less, which means for you that if you built a good credit score by just using your credit card responsibly over the years and managing your bills correctly and other forms of credit, you'll be able to save thousands, if not tens of thousands, on your mortgage over the years. So if that's not worth it, then I don't know what is. Now the other great aspect is once you've worked your way up the credit cards, because if you're new to credit cards, then you'll probably want to get either a student credit card if you're in university, for example, because that will allow you to build a credit, and it's pretty easy to get access to if you're a student, because if you've got a student bank account, they usually give the credit card with that, and make sure to use it responsibly. Other ones are builder cards, and they help you build your credit like it says in the name. However, once you've built your credit, you'll be eligible for higher cards and better cards. For example, there are some American Express ones, like the gold or platinum ones, where when you spend money, you get points back. Now some of these cards, like the American Express ones, as soon as you sign up and you meet the minimum spending requirement in the first 3 or 4 months, depending on the card, then they will give you a bonus, which sometimes can be 40,000 or 50,000 points. Now these points are then transferable to free travel, free hotel stays, and that's just off meeting the minimum spending requirements. And you should only meet this minimum spending requirement and apply for those cards if that's what you're already spending. You shouldn't go buy the new plasma TV or whatever, or Versace shoes, or you know, who knows, just to meet that minimum spending requirement, because then you'll go into debt that you can't afford. And yes, there is more. They also offer cashback. This means it's not a huge amount of cash back, 1 to 2% normally, but this means that every time you pay something, the credit card is essentially giving you money back, 1% or 2%, but that adds up over time, and that's just extra money in your pocket that you wouldn't have if you use cash. Now on top of the sign-up bonuses that the Amex cards, for example, offer, there are cards that every time you spend $1 or £1 on it, they give you a certain amount of points back on whatever you spend up to a certain amount. And these points, as with the American Express cards, are redeemable through free travel, free purchase. So if you're always using these, then you get free points, and if you want to travel a lot, then you can just transfer those points, and it's essentially just free travel again. Now the number one rule in personal finance is you should always track your expenses and budget. And guess what? Using a credit card, everything is tracked by them and you can see them online. Now this means that you don't need to make a spreadsheet and note whatever you buy the whole time. It's already done for you, and it saves you so much time. And on top of that, you can see exactly what you're spending on, and you'll see that there's some stupid stuff you don't need that were just impulse purchases, and you'll be able to cut down on those, and you'll be able to spend that on more important things like going traveling or whatever you want to do. Now the other great thing is there are laws in place that if you're subject to fraud on these cards, it's very easy to claim back, because the credit card company has to give it back unless they have reason to believe that you're falsely claiming back money. But if you use a debit card, for example, it's very hard to get that money back compared to credit cards. So that's another protection you have from just using your credit cards. Now you also have to consider the fact that it allows you to have access to money that you normally wouldn't have. So in the case of an emergency, and I mean really an emergency, not oh my god, the new iPhone's out, I need to go buy that. It allows you to go use it and then pay it back later. Although you will affect your credit score and you'll have to pay a lot of money back. If it's a huge emergency, like you have to pay for, I don't know, your grandma's or mum's emergency medical bills if you're in America, or even in the UK, you might want to go through the private sector, then it allows you to do that. But it should only be used in emergencies. And on top of all this, they also have purchase protection from a certain amount to a certain amount. I think it's if you spend over £100 to £30,000 on your credit cards, and the thing you spend money on breaks or something like that, and the company won't refund it, then sometimes the credit card company will refund it also. So this is just another benefit and extra insurance you have. Now, on top of this purchase protection, they sometimes even extend warranties. I know that the American Express Platinum card, for example, will extend some Apple warranties from 1 year all the way to 2 years. So that's double the protection. So if you get it stolen on the year and the first day, normally without your credit cards, you wouldn't be able to claim it back. But guess what? With a credit card, you can. Now, if I haven't already convinced you that credit cards are an amazing thing and you really should literally click out this video and go get one now, but make sure you are eligible first. There are some things online to check whether you'll be eligible for those credit cards. They're literally universally accepted. If you go anywhere in the world, they always accept credit cards. They might not accept debit cards. And last but not least, they have reduced fees. Every time you make transactions abroad or whatever, debit cards normally have higher fees and interest rates on the transactions you put than credit cards do. And this is a huge benefit if you're going traveling a lot. Now, the other thing you should really consider is to smash that like button. Take you 1/16 of a second, and it really helps me and the channel reach more people thanks to the YouTube algorithm. Now, to sum it all up, there's essentially no reason not to get a credit card unless you can't manage your money responsibly, which if you follow this channel, I'll tell you how exactly to do that. But literally, they offer rewards, they offer purchase protection, they allow you to build your credit score, which will save you money on big loans like buying a house later on in your life. They also offer convenience because they're accepted everywhere. And they save you a lot of money and allow you to track expenses and loads of other things. So just go get one. Now finally, if you've gained any value out of this video, then I'd really appreciate it if you haven't already to smash that like button. And if you're interested on more subjects like these, comment down below, and if you want me to cover anything or answer any questions on credit cards or credit in general, pop them down in the comment section. I try to answer as many as I can. And subscribe for more on money, investing and saving. See you next time.